It seems pretty basic to me, but every now and then I get somebody asking me what kind of cue that I use, and what my brake cue is. I'm reluctant to answer them because, if you can't play off the wall with a straight cue, then you really need to work on your game. And what works for me is not necessarily going to work for you. You should look for a cue that you're comfortable with, that you're confident in, that works for your style and your likes and against your dislikes, if that makes any sense. So you need a cue that fits you and your style. Now, as far as the brake, a cue is not going to make your brake any better. If the cue is straight off the wall, playing with a house stick, and you're not braking right, then a cue is not going to help you brake right. You really need to work on your brake. Now, of course, today everybody has their own stick, but what difference does my cue make in the cue that you're going to use? And I could, when people ask me that question on YouTube, I could say it takes like 2 minutes to set up an affiliate with, the company that's selling that brand of stick, and then hustle this user into saying, well, if you buy it, I can get you 10% off if you go here. And just make nickels and dimes. And YouTubers do this all the time, man. And they're open about it. They put affiliate links in their videos. They play with the stick. They rave about the stick no matter how bad it sucks, just to make a couple more nickels and dimes. Now, if you're only making $2 off that sale and you're getting thousands of viewers, do the math. And this is why they're doing it. And it's just a dishonest way of making money. They could have the worst cue in the world, and they're playing with it and selling it. And they're playing good with it because they're good players and they could play good with a house stick. It really doesn't matter. You should find a stick that you're comfortable with, and because you're comfortable with it, you'll be more confident with it. And the tip that you prefer, and the hit that you prefer, and the joint that you prefer, and the wrap that you prefer, what I prefer, should not factor at all in the stick that you choose to play with. And this brings up the whole subject of the brake. And if you knew how much time I've spent on my brake in the last 2 years, you would literally think I'm insane. I have worked so hard on this aspect of the game because I know I'm a run-out player. The only thing stopping me from putting a 7-pack or an 8-pack on anyone is my brake. It's not. It's getting better, but it wasn't. Every now and then I'd brake like Shane Van Boney, but it wasn't consistent enough. And all my focus for the past 2 years, especially the past few months, have been on getting myself more accurate and really studying the rack and what the balls are doing.
You just feel sorry for them. We can either do every ball starts slow, or we can just put in the back of our mind.
Sounds like a Shannon Dalton break.
Yeah, hit him good.
Shannon McCann.
So until you do that kind of work, some fancy cue by some fancy manufacturer is not going to help your brake. It's not going to give you a brake like mine because I've worked harder on my brake than you have. Otherwise, you would know this and you wouldn't be asking me what kind of brake cue I use. I watched this video on, I forget the creator's name, but he made a barrage of clips of a certain breaker, should I say his name? Larry Neville, and saying Larry was the best breaker to ever play the game of pool, and it's such, well, he said the hardest breaker. And on this barrage of videos, he's throwing away the cue ball on just about every single break out of like 100 different breaks. He wasn't controlling the cue ball, and this is a common issue with hard breakers. Hillbilly Charlie Bryan had a very, very, very hard break, but he had trouble controlling the cue ball, and that limited his success in this game. Danny Medina, the same thing. Danny was the hardest breaker in pool, and that's coming from someone who knows. Danny Medina had the hardest break I've ever seen. But he couldn't control the cue ball. The only one who can consistently power break in the game of the pool today is Shane Van Bommel. Consistently, accurately power break. Shane. He's the only one that's been able to really master that aspect of the game, especially in tempo.
Hey, I didn't care where.
I don't blame you. I wasn't
I
either.
just wanted to make it.
I will tell you that the break is not about strength or power. It's about how fast you can get that pull stick moving. But you know, that can be said about a pitcher, but if a pitcher is not accurate, that 102 mile per hour fastball is useless. So that's where we're at, and I'm trying to make it more accurate so I can make it more useful.